gone and got some more of these Dysons. So, oops, sorry I don't tread on me. I've got my little toolkit, wet wipes and screwdrivers. But I've got some more. You know, I bought these from different people. One's a Dyson DC07 Animal, and the other one is a DC04. Different types of Hoover. I think the 04 is older than the Animal 07. Not sure. But this Animal has, it was, when I bought it, the guy said it has no suction. No suction at all, and this one is supposed to work perfectly well. This one's obviously been cleaned up to a little extent by the other owner, because I bought it as a working Hoover for quite cheap. This one I bought as a non-working Hoover with no suction. So, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to give them both a service. Give this one, obviously, this one's going to need a thorough clean out. I would imagine this one has been cleaned on the outside and inside the bin there, but probably not in the cyclone unit. But who knows anyway. The cyclone with no loss of suction. I don't even know how old that is anyway. Hey ho. So we're going to do both of these in this video. What one should we start with? Should we start with the Animal, I think? I don't even know if they turn on. I don't even know if this one turns on, but I suppose what we'll do first is we'll try and find out why we've got no suction, I suppose. And we'll go from there. So if we have a look, the first port of call is always the pre-motor filter. Always check the pre-motor filter first. There's quite a little bit of grit, pet hair. I would say the person that had this almost definitely had a very hairy dog or cat. Just by judging what the hair is in there, it's pets. Yeah, they've been sucking up. Well, that is solid, pretty much. You know, as solid as can be. Look at it coming off on my thumb. That is probably why we got no suction. That filter is absolutely clog solid. So that's definitely going to need a very good wash. And you probably learned from my other videos, I've already done one of these exact Hoovers, my own personal one. So this is going to clean out. So we know that that's probably going to be the source of loss of suction. So we've looked at that. Obviously we're going to be looking inside all of there and everything, but we'll take the old bin off. I'm going to take the cyclone unit apart and we'll have a look in there as well. But obviously while we're on the filters, we need to take apart this HEPA filter, because we're going to have to give this a wash while we're at it as well. So I'm going to have to get my trusty screwdriver. Right, someone's clearly had a go at this before, because that weren't me, believe it or not. That was already there. And on this one, I did contribute to it slightly, but not very much. Not too bad in there. The HEPA filter, because it's a post-motor filter, you would hope it would be fairly clean. Because, you know, if it's dirt under here, it means the dirt's getting through and going through the motor, which is what you don't want. This must be this must be either earlier or later than my personal one, because my one's black in there. This one is actually not black, it's a funny colour. What we got in here then? What's that? Ah, it's a valve. It's a blow off valve, stupid me. It's a suction relief valve, I think. We've got a little bit of grit in there. Grit and dirt. Not really something that you want in your post-motor filter housing. But the filter itself isn't too bad. What I'll do is I'll just sort of hoover this up with the other hoover. One of my good working hoovers. I'll just give it a hoover out, get it clean as it can be, You can't wash these ones. These ones aren't washable. Just a HEPA filter. So that one's going to be hoovered out. While we're here, take this off. Check this out. That's got no blockages. So we know we're safe and sound there. There's not really any way of looking down that because it's obviously curved, but we'll poke a brush in there, clean out that dirt. I reckon this has been involved with some decorating, I would say, such as was the other one, because the dirt in here, you know what I mean, it just looks to me like plaster shavings, you know, like when you sand walls down on plaster, or just from sanding walls, maybe, you know, dust, paint dust or something, you know. It's definitely some kind of dust. It's not, I wouldn't say this was ordinary house dust that you just get, because it's pure white and it smells of, well, it smells of sort of dry wool, to be honest with you. So, you know, I'd say these hoovers have been used for sucking up after decorating them. Got blocked up from there. Anyway, I'm going to go off and give the filters a wash. This filter here. And then we'll come back and take some pipes off and have a look about. And I'll take the cyclone unit apart and we'll have a look in there as well. I just thought to myself, before I go, I've saved doing 2 trips over to the sink. I might as well just do 1 trip to the sink while I'm at this, doing this cleaning lot. And I'll take the filter to this one as well. This is a different design. All you've got to do for this one is push on that little thing there, where the little filter symbol is. Push on the arrow, and if you're doing it with 2 hands and not 1, like I am, it should open up like a little hatch. And there's your filter. That's pretty blocked as well, really, isn't it? They recommend you do these every 6 months. I do mine every couple of weeks on my hoovers. But there you go, that's pretty blocked and all. Anyway, different filters, different hoovers. Let's go give them a clean. 1 trip to the sink, get them drying. They'll be drying while I'm taking the rest of the hoovers apart, and then by the time I put them back together, the filter should be drying. We can give them a test. Lovely jubbly. Alright, I've gone and washed the filters. And next then I'll take this cyclone unit apart and see what it's like inside there then, considering you know, it was complaining there was no suction. I'm pretty sure that pre-motor filter was pretty much the culprit, but as long as the motor's fine. Obviously I haven't turned it on yet, so I don't know what the motor's like. But you know, there's no harm in cleaning the filters and doing a little bit of work before you find out what the motor's like, because it's not hard to change a motor. So let's take this apart, and what you need to do, the reason I'm doing it on the floor is because my bench is full up with crap. So you need to take the you know, the actual sort of bin thingamajig off, away from it. Again, you know me, making things awkward for myself by doing it with 1 hand. So jump cut. So after that interesting jump cut, you want to take yourself your Torx driver. Don't know what size it is, no idea. As long as it fits, you're all dandy. Alright, then you just have to undo this one here, that one there, and then you take the top of it off. So jump cut. Right, screws are out. I've just loosened it, just got a rubber seal on it, a bit difficult to take it off with 1 hand. I haven't actually opened it up completely yet, but I can see already, if I get out the light, it's going to be pretty bad in there. So let's have a look, shall we? Yeah, man. I don't know what this has been sucking. Some kind of white dust of some sort, anyway. It's going to need a good clean up. So then the next thing to do is to gently pull on this here, and you can get all that away then. Forgot to mention, you need to undo those screws first. Down in there's 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. And then you can give it a pull. Bloody blimey. Well, I tried everything with this one, and this one doesn't want to come apart. Usually you undo them screws and that's it. It comes apart. But I don't want to break it because obviously I plan on selling this on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a good wash and give it a good blast through all them little cyclone holes and everything. Give it all a good wash through, a good blast through with nice hot water, soapy water, to make sure it's all nice and clean in there, and give it a soak. That's the best I'm going to be able to do with this one, because I don't want to try and break it. I don't want to try and prise it apart because I don't want to break it, and you know, it's only plastic at the end of the day, isn't it? So it's strange, man. It's probably been together. It's probably never been taken apart, and it's just stuck together. Maybe once it gets hot in the hot water, it might expand a little bit, and it might come apart a bit easier. So I'll try it once I get it in the hot water in the bath, and see what it's like then. So I'm going to go away now and give this a wash. I don't want to get my camera near the water because I'm the unluckiest person in the world, aren't I? So I'm going to give it a wash, and then I'll come back when it's clean. Lovely jubbly. And of course, while we're waiting for them to dry, and take my old trusty wet wipes and clean the rest of the Hoover up. You know, I could have washed that in the bath actually with the rest of it, but I didn't. Then we'll clean all this up, give that a clean up round in there, all the little seals and everything, and we'll check the brush bar. So, you know, you can use whatever you want to use. I like these wet wipes. Wet wipes are always very handy things to use for cleaning. Wet wipes, baby wipes, whatever you want to call them. These ones are just cheap fragranted ones I got from Asda. Like, you've seen how many I got over there. I like to keep a nice stock. I keep them in my cars, I keep them in the machines, in the cabs, and I use them for cleaning everything. Radios, computers, everything I use these for cleaning for. Lovely things. So I'm going to give the bin a clean out, and the filter housings a clean out now, and then we'll move on to the rest of the Hoover. Alright then, so I've gone and cleaned all those up. They're all nice and clean now. I did give the top of the Hoover a wipe over, and I'm just turning it over. And so we'll check all the brush bar, we'll check the belt and everything, make sure everything's okay and oakley dokley within there. So obviously you need to trust your screwdriver again. This has never been opened, I don't think. Never ever been opened by the looks of things. Those little screws there are all mint. Usually you find those are a little bit chewed up. And to be fair, that brush bar looks okay as well. It looks, you know, I don't know, maybe the Hoover hasn't been used for hoovering carpets that often. Either that or it's a new bar. Who knows? So we just lift it. Whoops. It's my clumsiness again. Yeah, man. Your regular little bit of dirt and dust in there. That little hose looks okay. Usually that splits. That looks alright. Let's give it a brush. There's not too much. A little bit of carpet thread around here. The belt looks okay. Probably the original, but it looks okay. It's not super shiny or damaged in any way. It all spins alright. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a clean around here. Give that a bit of a clean. And we'll pick out some of the dust and dirt and we'll be away. Alright, so what I've done is I've cleaned all the brush bar. Cleaned all in here as much as I can by passing wet wipes through them with a long screwdriver as far as I can get through and everything. I could go further and wash them through, but they're okay. Put that back on, put the HEPA filter back in. Now I can just test to see if the Hoover is going to work or not and see what the motor sounds like. It doesn't matter if that filter isn't on because I'm not going to be hoovering anything. Plus I'm not going to be, I'm only just going to turn it on to see what it's going to run like. So I plugged it in. So it's time to hit the switch and see what happens. Sounds alright to me. Can't see any problems with that. So now I'm just going to turn my attention to the cyclone unit. It's drying out nicely, so I'm just going to give it a wipe over with a wet wipes just to make sure everything's nice and clean inside and outside. And then we'll start reassembling once I'm happy everything's nice and dry. Never put it back together when it's moist or any damp in there, because all it will do is the dust and dirt will stick to it, and you know, you could suck some into the filter and all this, and you don't want to get a thing with your filter, do you? A wet filter, do you, and get sucked into the motor and all that stuff. So, and then it will just be finishing off little bits that I've missed, cleaning around here that I've missed, and things and bits and bobs, make sure everything's clean. So here we go. Well, while I'm waiting for the filters for this one to dry and the filter for this, I'm just going to go over this one. This one has been cleaned, so I'm not going to bother going to such extent, because the previous owner of this particular Hoover said that it works perfectly fine. He said there's nothing wrong with it at all. He said it's lovely. He's just got rid of it because he got a new one or something, I don't know, whatever. So I'm just going to give it the once over, this particular one. Have a look about in it, give it a quick clean. But it's in fairly good condition, to be honest with you. There isn't anything. Oh, there's a little bit of dust and dirt around here. This can all be cleaned up. I'll clean all this. Take the old bin off. I'll give, you know, just give it the once over. Give it a wipe around here. Filters are being done. You know, they're drying. This has already had a wipe, but you can see his marks. But I'm going to give it another wipe. Give it a wipe around there. I'll check the suction. I'll check this suction hose, as I will check this suction hose in a minute. Well, once the filters have dried, to make sure everything's okay. This one's actually got all the tools as well. Look, it's got the crevice tool and everything, whereas this one's missing the crevice tool, but it's got the other two tools. But I'll have to get another crevice tool for it before I put it up for sale. Lovely. This is, you can tell this machine's older than DC04. It just looks like more of a toy. I think the older ones look more like a toy compared to the other ones. But some of you are probably thinking to yourself, why is this idiot fanning about with Hoovers now? Well, to be honest with you, you know, times are hard. I'm the man of the house. I've got to provide. I've got to buy everything. So I'm working seven nights a week, 13-hour shifts ain't enough these days, you know. So, and nobody wants to buy lawnmowers anymore. So here we go. Got myself some Hoovers. I like a Hoover. Good fun. Anything that I can repair and, you know, sell on, I'll do it, no matter what it is. So there you go. Let's get the old wet wipes out and give it a once over, shall we? Time to plug this one in and see what this one's going to sound like when I switch it on. Obviously I ain't got no filters, but it'll sound a little bit loud like the other one did, but we'll go. Here we go then. Well, we know it works, we know it turns on. That's alright. Funnily enough, this one's in pretty good condition, man. As you know, the DC04 is, the 07 is more like heavy duty compared to the 04. Everything's a lot smaller. All the little ports and passages are a lot smaller. The pipe doesn't actually come out, whereas on the 07 the pipe comes out and you get a separate, all the metal pipe is separate from the suction pipe. And it's one like this, you know, it completely comes off. So you can attach tools and stuff to this one. This one's an old hose, it's actually split, but it's just like that. Whereas on this one it doesn't, all it does is extend, that's all it does. This is just pretty much like a basic model, I think, the 04. But at least we know it works. I've given it all a clean out. All I've got to do is give a little wipe around these seals, and then I can put the bin back on. Bin's all cleaned out on the inside. And then all I've got to do is wait for that filter to dry, and we'll be well away and perfect. Well, here on my crowded bench, I've got the filters all nice and dry. Now, you're probably looking at this filter and thinking, what the hell has he done? Well, that is actually how it came out of the Hoover. This is the one that come out of the DC04. And that is how it came out. Now, I'm trying to look at these and I was trying to determine exactly. Let's have a look in the light. Are they burn holes? Is it just eroded? I mean, I can't, well, I don't know. To me, it looks like this Hoover has sucked something up. And it's like a chemical maybe, perhaps. And it's just eroded into the sponge, making little holes where it's hit. There's some on the edge as well. Unless somebody's taken it out and intentionally burnt it, which is also very possible, but there's no black edges to it. If you burn it, you'd expect a black edge, wouldn't you, to go around the edge where it's been burnt. There's none of that. So I think this Hoover has sucked some kind of chemical up and it's just eroded away at the sponge, but it has only done the side which faces the motor, not the upside. So, you know, as it's hitting up at it, it's obviously eroded it a little bit, whatever it is. But I'd have to get a new filter before I can sell this Hoover, obviously, but I've given it a clean so I can put it back in and test it, because it's perfectly fine to test it. There's a little hole there where I took the tag out, but I'm not going to be hoovering up a lot of dust. I'm just going to make sure the suction is okay and everything, so that's perfectly fine for me to give it a test. Which one was the one that goes with this one? Let's have a think. That's the one that goes in the animal. This is the one that goes in the DC04. It's dry now. It looks dark, but it's dry, trust me. Yeah, that's okay. Oops. There we go. Told you I was the clumsiest person in the world. If you haven't watched my videos before, you know now. There we go. That's that filter. So we'll stick this one back in the Hoover, and we'll check the suction and everything to make sure all the suction's okay. Ah, dear. Trying to do this with my left hand. I'm actually right-handed, so I'm holding the camera with my right hand. It's difficult for me. Anyway, this Hoover's back together now, so let's have a look. It does have a little bit of a noisy motor. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lubricate it up a little bit with a little bit of oil, and that should sort that out, no problems. I think, with any luck anyway. So that's what I'm going to do with that. A little bit of oil should sort out the noisy motor. Other than that, the suction's lovely. A lot of suction up there. So after I've lubricated the motor up, I think we're ready to go with this one. Now it's just got to put the filter back in this one. And the filter is, this one's got a nice filter. And it even says, wash every 6 months. Lovely. Nothing wrong with this filter. Perfectly good serviceable filter. Perfectly good serviceable filter holder thingy, whatever you want to call it. And I put the rest of the Hoover back together. I put everything back on it. Cleaned all this out. So that can clearly go back in there. And then that can go back on there. Ready to go. I might have to get a new clip for it. I don't know. It depends. Depends how it works, how it holds out. Now it's just got to put the bin and the cyclone unit back together. I'll try and do it with one hand. I don't know whether I'll be able to. Everything is all nice and dry now, by the way, in case you're wondering. I have checked everything. I'm going to have to do it with two hands. There we go, back together. See what the suction's like, shall we? Oh, got a little bit of dirt on here, I missed that bit. Right, I'll get the wet wipe and clean it off in a second. Give this a clean around here as well. Here we go. For some reason I pressed the stop record button halfway through that, sorry. But everything seems fine with it. No problems at all. Lovely suction. All I have to do in a minute is just test the brush bars work on both hoovers, and then we're away. No problems. Lovely job. Sweet as a nut.